Hey guys, Loy here. I'm going to do a little different style of YouTube video this week, so let me know in the comments down below if you like it. Of course, the topic is creatine. I've been taking it for the last 4 months and it's been quite the ride. Creatine obviously is one of the most researched sports supplements in the entire world, and it's wholly positive. But when it comes to climbing is a strength to weight ratio sport. So of course, if you're gaining weight, there's always a lot of questions to be had, on top of the fact that climbers in general seem to have quite the negative attitude towards weight in general. And from what I've seen in the space, most people are either super against it or super for it, and there's not enough nuanced discussion about the benefits and the strengths and the risks and the negatives of taking creatine as a supplement as a climber. So specifically in that niche, I'd like to share my personal experience with taking creatine for the last 4 months, how it's affected my climbing, and what you can expect if you decide to take creatine, depending on what type of climber you are. I'll also be doing kind of like a Sam Sulek kind of vibe. I don't know if you guys will like it. I'm going to do my kind of like recovery workout here in my apartment. So we'll talk between sets. Creatine is super well researched, and honestly, I could do all the research and give you a spiel about why it's so beneficial, but there are so many other videos out there on YouTube that I don't even think I'm the best person to be able to explain that to you, like, at all. So if you are on the fence about whether creatine is good for you or not, like from a purely strength, endurance, recovery perspective, then you should go watch those videos because it is very good for you. And I'll tell you why it's a little more complicated for climbing. So obviously, climbing is a sport where not only is it a strength to weight ratio sport, so the lighter you are and the stronger you are, the better you are, but also that a lot of the load and the majority of the load actually passes through the fingers. And obviously, a part of being a good climber is to try to weigh your feet more and move in positions where you don't weigh your hands as much. But at the end of the day, especially for like outdoor climbing, the thing that is limiting you is most likely whether you can hold the holds or not. And holding the hold in climbing is not a pure muscular feat. It's actually very rarely that climbers are using their muscles when they climb, like their forearm muscles for their fingers. You can really see this like whenever anyone like predominantly full crimps or predominantly drags, and you can just feel that in your own experience. You can also test this with a tin deck. You can test your muscle activation with just the finger curls, isolated finger curls, and you'll see that the load that you can generate with your forearm muscles, it's much lower than if you just tried to go as hard as possible and load your tendons. This is because of passive tension. That is, your connective tissue is taking a lot of the load, which is very different. Most of the creatine studies are based on very standard exercises like bench press, squats, lunges, like things like that. And those are very muscular. And from a muscular perspective, creatine is exceptional at allowing you to create more force, do more reps, and recover better, which is amazing. But for climbing, there's this added caveat of our tendon health and our tendon resiliency that we need to take into account. And I'm going to tell you about my experience right after this. Yeah, so I'm just going to be doing some pull-ups and some hangboarding today. Maybe not exactly recovery, but get a little pump. Maybe do some like Sam Sulek style flexing, because why not? Anyways, as a climber who's training already at really high volume and really high intensity, creatine actually made my muscles like too good for my fingers. Basically, I feel like at the load I was climbing before, my tendons and my connective tissue were able to keep up with the amount of load that I was putting through my fingers. But as soon as I gained 10 pounds, that was how much water weight I gained from taking creatine. So higher load, I could also recover better. So I was actually climbing more because I felt more fresh. So higher volume. Those two factors led directly to like overtraining issues. So I got 2 overtraining injuries, both in my A2 index pulleys, just because I could virtually increase my training load by over like 30% because I was recovering so much more than usual. Like I felt like muscularly I was fresh, but my tendons weren't recovered to be able to handle that load. So maybe I could physically pull and force that much, but my fingers were falling apart from doing this so much. But this is like a very specific case of me, who is a individual who is already highly trained, who is already working at like the limits of their capacity, while also being relatively newer to climbing, coming up to like 4 years, and only like 3 years of crimping. So of course I haven't had the time for my fingers to develop. I wouldn't say I have bad finger genetics, but I don't have like superhuman finger genetics either. Maybe a little bit better in terms of tendons, purely about like tendon health and stuff. So in this case of me, a huge pitfall that could be happening if you are someone like that is that you get all of those creatine gains, but you use it up too fast. You don't let your body adapt to the load that you're going to put on your body. So that's one little warning that I could give you. I hope that was a little clear. I'm going to do another set and then maybe I'll explain it a little better. And then we'll go to a couple different other cases. Oh, fuck. Ow. Oh my god, that fucking hurt. Ow. Oh, good. Ow. Oh. Oh my god. Okay, note to self, no explosive pull-ups. Oh my god. Oh, fuck. Oh my god. That was not fun at all. Whew. So I kind of explained to you like my experience with creatine and how I'm a person who is highly trained, adapts extremely well to creatine, and how that can affect my climbing and my climbing health. I'll start to break it down for like every genre of climber. In general, basically what I'm saying is that if you're an athlete who's trying to get the most out of your training, you should probably be supplementing creatine. No matter if you're a climber or like any other sport, it's just that the compounding effects of being able to train more, recover better, is just so good. Even if you don't increase your volume, you'll just be feeling so much fresher between all of your sessions, which will lead to much better training and much better outcomes. It's just that there are a couple of things that you should be aware of. so that you don't make the mistake of overtraining and injuring yourself. So you should take creatine. But what are the issues that you might be looking for? So if you're a beginner climber, say you've been climbing for like a couple months, you've heard of like crimping, but you don't really know what it is. You see people on the hangboard, but you've never really touched it. I don't see why there's any issues of like taking creatine like now. Basically, you're not holding any grip types where the extra load will like injure you. You're mostly just getting like really pumped and physically tired already. Like the climbs aren't that finger intensive yet. And so not only will it not really affect you or have any issues with your tendon health, but also like you probably still have so many other things that you could be streamlining that will make you just more fit and a better climber. So as a beginner, there's like really no issues. If you're an intermediate climber, maybe you just started board climbing, you hang board sometimes, then this is when I would be a little bit more cautious, because this is like the period of time where you're starting to put a lot of load through your fingers. And this could be like the 1 to 2 year mark. And classically, there's been a lot of climbers injure themselves, get finger injuries in that like 2 year mark. And I would put myself into this category as well. I think I just like delayed the finger injury a little bit. It's just that like you're so psyched now, like you're finally getting into the groove of climbing. You like board climbing a lot, you're like hangboarding, and that's a lot of load through your fingers, and your fingers are very not adapted to that kind of stress yet. So it's not that you should not take creatine, it's that you should highly manage your finger load as you start creatine, and really look at how much you're gaining in terms of water weight, and how much, and your mental surrounding that. Because if you gain 10 pounds and you lose 10 pounds on your hangboarding, it's completely that's normal. But I know even for me, like I understood that I was weighing more, so like my total load was higher, but it can still be like mentally difficult to see the weight that you're holding go down. So it's more about like mental stuff. So that's like the biggest awareness. You don't want to get injured. You don't want to hurt yourself. Couple of tips that you could use is that you could, if you're feeling energy and you want to train more and you feel like you could train more, you feel like you're more recovered, which you probably will be, then adding like a physical training day instead of like another climbing day is really beneficial. In general, like the way to increase load in climbing, even if you're not on creatine or anything, but you just want to increase more volume, or you're feeling like you're adapting well to the climbing stimulus and you want to start adding more days, is that first you should just like add in 1 day of like strength training. So imagine you're like climbing 3 days a week, and before you were really tired and your skin really hurt, but now you're feeling pretty good after 3 days and you feel like you could do more. Your skin feels really good, and you're not really too physically tired anymore after 3 days. Then going in right away and adding a 4th day of climbing could be really hard on your body, and I think is usually too hard on your body and your skin. So instead, making your 4th day like only gym training, like pull-ups, bench press, that kind of stuff, will allow your body to get more physically fit, so that you can later down the line do a 4th day of climbing. And that's exactly how I increase my volume, slowly but surely. Because usually the limiting factors are like your grip is like completely taxed after like your 3 sessions a week, or your skin is completely destroyed. So doing that extra gym session where you don't need really to worry about your grip or worry about your skin is a great way to like keep building your physical fitness. Oh, okay. It's really hot in this apartment, and doing pull-ups is tough. So I'll do another set, and then I'll talk about like pros, I guess. But honestly, those are like kind of the two important categories: beginner and intermediate. But let's do this set. Whew. Ooh. Man. Woo. It is warm. Whew. Complete side tangent, but another thing that I've noticed from training this summer is that I've been really dehydrated, and so it's really important to get your electrolytes in, not just water, because the gyms are warm, you're sweating so much, you need that sodium to be replaced as you're sweating it out. And if you're not like really an athlete, you might never have like felt what it feels to be dehydrated, but like if you're ever at the point in your climbing session where you're like, you feel like you need to vomit, that means you're dehydrated. Like literally it just means you don't have enough electrolytes in your body. And so getting a Gatorade or just literally putting some salt in your water completely fixes that. Like 1 minute you'll feel like you need to vomit, like you're on your knees. And then the next, like you have your saline solution, you drink some electrolytes, and you're like, 10 minutes later, you're like, oh, wow, I feel fine. I can keep climbing. So if you ever felt that, drink something. Whew. Okay, last category, pro climbers. You guys have been doing it for so long, and you don't really want to change anything. Everything's going fine. Maybe you're already really great at what you do, and you're amazing. But I would consider, if you're this type of person who's a little worried about the weight gain and about how those effects on your performance, I think that just using it in the off season would be incredibly beneficial for you anyways. So even if you're skeptical about its use in like high performance, as a training device, it is. There is literally zero reason why you shouldn't be taking it. You'll recover better, you'll be able to try harder, you'll be able to do more reps, and that compounds. And you're not trying to perform in the off season, you're training. You're training so that you can hit your peak at the right time. So if you're in that off season mode, I would highly recommend using creatine, because the quality of your sessions will just go up way more. And yeah, you'll weigh more, but that's part of training, and that's not a bad thing. But if you want to weigh less in your performance phase, that is completely normal and fine. But it's the same thing as like eating more in the off season to be more fueled. I'm not saying underfuel in your performance phase, but like, you know, it's literally like the different, like you're bulking kind of, you're like making sure your body's like fully, like all your glycogen stores are full and everything. So supplementing creatine in the off season and then cycling off of it will be really good for you. That's my 2 cents, because I'm finally like on the other side of the creatine issues of weighing too much, and I feel like now that I understand that, I feel a lot better and I can manage what I'm doing much better. And this is like why I wanted to make this video, because if I knew this before I went into my creatine phase, I like would not be injured. I would be performing way better and everything. So yeah, I think I'll just end it there because I feel kind of terrible. I need to take off my shirt and stuff. So I hope that helps, and I'll see you guys next week. Consider buying a shirt or supporting me on Patreon.